In our 12th lesson, we're going to see what happens when we want to invoke a screen and then get a result. In our previous lesson, we saw the intent, the explicit intent, where we simply say start activity. And when we start that activity, it simply starts and has a life of its own, and we never hear back from it. What we're going to look at now is start activity for result, which means we want to start an activity and we want to receive a result for it. One example is going to be the plant search. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to have our plant search screen. We'll be able to enter criteria and then see a list of plants that matches that criteria. So we're going to need a list activity, which is a special kind of activity that just shows a list of results. We also need to make a PlantDTO. So I'm going to bring back up our Eclipse environment, and I'm going to go to our source here, and I'm going to make a new package. We'll say new package, and we'll say com.plantplaces.dto, and this is where we'll put our DTOs. On this, I'm going to now say new class, and we're just going to call this one plant. Everything else is good. This is what we'll call a POJO, or a plain old Java object. Now, what kind of things does a plant have? Well, we'll say string genus, string species, string cultivar, string common name, string, okay, there we go. String category. Okay, let's say int minimum height, int maximum height, and we can certainly add more later. Because we're going to be using this as an object, it'll be easy to modify this later. So I right click, I choose refactor, and then I choose, or actually I'm sorry, source, and then I choose generate getters and setters, select all, and then choose OK. And there are getters and setters. Let's also make a ToString method. Remember that ToString is a method of the superclass object, the superclass called object. So it's always available. I'll just start typing ToString, hold down Control Space, and there we go. There's our ToString. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to say return genus plus, and then a space, plus species. That's probably enough. We'll go ahead and add cultivar, space, cultivar. And at this point, we now have our DTO. We probably want to add some comments to this as well, but we now have our DTO. Now, we need a way to fetch a plant. So I'm just going to go to my iPlant service, and I'm going to make a new method, public list string fetch plant throws exception. So the idea is we'll take our search parameters and put them into a plant, and then we'll use that to fetch a plant that matches those search parameters. So Control-Shift-O to organize imports, and then I'll put some comments here. Search for plants that contain the specified search criteria. Okay, param plant, an object that contains search terms, return a collection of plants that match the search results, or match the search criteria. Okay, one thing I noticed, this shouldn't be public list string, it should be public list plant, because we're going to be returning a collection of plants. This is in my interface, and so I choose save. As soon as I do that, of course, the stub that implements this interface will no longer compile because it does not have this method. So I click on the red line, hold Control and press 1, which in Eclipse is the try to help me out button, and I say add unimplemented methods. Now, because this is a stub, I'm going to dummy up a couple of methods here. a couple of records. Remember, that's what our stub is. It's a chance for us to put some known given data, okay, and return it for testing purposes and until we get the real thing going. There are a lot of moving parts in an Android application, so that's why we really have to do this interface and then implement the interface in a class, make a stub, and then move on with something else and come back and put the real implementation in later. If not, it would be very hard to manage a project like this with multiple people working on it. So list is an interface which is implemented by ArrayList. So I'll say ArrayList plant all plants equals new ArrayList plant, open and close paren and semicolon, Control-Shift-O to organize imports, and then return all plants. Now what I need to do in between these two lines is just make some dummy plants. So plant, we'll say ABs, so I'll just say ABs equals new plant, okay, ABs dot set genus, ABs, okay, and semicolon. One thing that makes internationalization nice when you're dealing with plants is that the scientific name of plants is in Latin. So you don't have to worry about internationalization because that's true all around the world. ABs.setSpecies, okay, Silicica, something like that. Okay, ABs.setCommon, and we'll say Cilician fir, okay, and there we go. And then all plants.add ABs, okay. Now we'll say plant Acer equals new plant, Acer.set genus, Acer, okay. Acer.set species, rubrum, okay. And Acer.set cultivar, Freemonii, okay. And Acer.set common name, Freemonii red maple. Okay, so 2. We could certainly go with more, but 2 will be enough for now. And then we will all plants.add, okay. And we'll say Acer. And there we go. Okay, so I'll put some well, we don't need comments because we already commented the interface. So here is a FetchWePlant method, and I'm going to choose save, and we should be all set. Okay, now I need to look at my plant search activity. And what we're going to do is we're going to need a button on this screen that we can press. Matter of fact, I think we already have that button, don't we? Maybe we're just not using it yet. We need a button we can press to activate this search. So I'm going to go to Layout, and this is off screen for the moment, but it'll come back on screen in a moment. I'm going to go to Layout and make sure I have a button there. If I don't have a button, I'll go ahead and add one. It typically takes the layout a few moments to render, so let's give this just a few moments. I'll pause and restart it again when the layout comes back. Okay, and here we have our layout. Looks like we do not have a button, so I'll add one. I'm going to, and part of this will fall off screen again. Let me see if I can try and get it all at least kind of close. Hey, not so easy. Okay, there we go. I'm going to take a button here, and we'll make that the last thing on the screen, so I'm going to try and drop that into table row 8. There we go. Now for the button, I'll edit ID, btn search plants, okay, and then edit text, okay, new string, okay, and we get the new string box up, so I say new, the name will be new r.string.btn search plants, and the string will be search. I'll just make it search. That's fine. And okay. Okay, we called this btn search plants. So now I'm going to go back to my plant search activity, and I'm going to try and get a reference to this guy. Let me resize the screen again so I'll fit as much as I can on our screencast. Okay, I will say now, okay, I'm going to say find view by ID. Okay, and we'll do our old r.id.btn. Well, shoot, where'd the darn thing go? All right, I did change the ID. Maybe I didn't save it. Oh, I didn't save it. Okay, I need to save it. There we go. Now we'll try again. r.id.btn, and there we go, search plants. So get a reference to the button. Remember, we're going to have to cast this to a button. Okay, and then we can say button btn plant search equals button.findView by ID. Control-Shift-O to organize imports, and there we go. So get a reference to the button. Okay. And then we'll say, first of all, let's see if we can refactor this guy. Let's see if it will let me do this. Will let me, I was hoping it would, convert local variable to field. That's what I want. Okay, but I just have to select this one thing here. And then refactor, convert local variable to field, and there we go. Okay, that makes it a little prettier because it declares it up here where I can use it later in another method. Okay, so now let's see. Get a reference to the search button. Okay. Scroll down a bit. Add a listener to the search button. Remember, we have that goofy syntax we can use here. btn plant search dot set OnClickListener, and then we do that really goofy syntax where we say new OnClickListener. And again, this is a goofy syntax. Usually when I'm doing this and I haven't prepared, I have to really sit and think about it for a second. Okay, let's start by terminating the method call with a semicolon, because if not, we'll forget. Then we'll do an open paren, and when we hit enter, it will give us a closed paren. Okay. Okay, Control-Shift-O to organize imports. Okay, and now the new OnClickListener is redlining, but that's good. Control-1, and we'll say add unimplemented methods. And there's the onClick that's finally going to get called when this method is invoked. So I'm going to have the onClick call search plants method, which doesn't exist yet. So I need to make that. So we save. And now this is where it gets really goofy because we have to make sure we're in the right place because we have all these weird symbols. Down here, I'm going to make a method, private void search plants. Okay, and when I do that, now the red line up here goes away. So what I want to do here is create a plant object populated with the search terms. Okay. Place the plant object into a bundle so that we can pass it to the plant results screen. Okay. Create an intent for the plant results screen. Okay. Call the intent for the plant results screen. That'll work. Okay. So create a plant object, plant search plant equals new plant. Okay, now we need to populate it with what we found up here, our genus and our category and any of the other fields that we have on that screen. I feel like we have more than that. Genus, species, cultivar, category. So we need to get the species and cultivar as well. No problem, we can do that. Okay, Control-Shift-O to organize imports. Now start calling setters based on the UI elements. Okay. Search plant dot set genus. Okay, autocomplete text genus dot I believe we need to call get text. Yes, get text dot ToString. This will return to us the value that the user typed into that genus. Search plant dot set category. Okay, SPN category dot get, I want to say get selected item, that'll work. Get selected item ToString again, and there we go. Now we need to get the cultivar and the species, which we haven't retrieved those. We haven't retrieved those UI components yet, so we'll do that now. Okay, not a problem. Okay, find view by ID, and we'll say r.id.txt. Or did we make those EDT? That's what it was. EDT species. Okay. And I'll control 1. Assign to new field. Okay. Species. And private. We're not going to make it view. We're going to make it edit text. Boom. And there we go. And enter. Okay. Now it's mad because find view by ID returns the superclass type. We need to cast that to edit text. I could once again do a control 1, whoops, control 1. That doesn't give me any help. So I'll just say edit text. There we go. And with any luck, okay, it needs me to control shift O to organize imports. There we go. And now we have our species. I'll do the same thing for cultivar. Okay, find view by ID, r.id. .edt cultivar. Okay, terminate with a semicolon. Control 1, assign to new field. Okay, cultivar. I should call that maybe edt cultivar, and probably should do the same for species. Tab, instead of view, edit text, and enter, and there we go. Now it notices this returns a view, but this is an edit text type. Let me try that control 1 here. Add cast to edit text. Boom. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rename this to EDT species, and we'll do the same here. Okay, looking good. And I save. Now I go back to search plants, and I'm going to say search plant.set species, EDT species, .get text, .toString. Okay, terminate with a semicolon. Search plant. .set cultivar, EDT cultivar, or was that common? Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. .get text, .toString, and there we go. So now we've populated our search option. Okay, next, when passing data from one activity to another, we need something called a bundle. Okay? So a bundle is basically kind of like a hash map that we can use to pass data from one activity to another. We simply declare the bundle, then we put serializable on there, and we put some kind of key, just like a hash map again, and then some kind of object. Then when we create our intent, before we created our intent and immediately called StartActivity. Now we'll create our intent, but in between we'll say put extras, which means I want to send some information across. Now on the other side, on the intent that gets this bundle, it simply invokes this.getIntent.getExtras and then get serializable to retrieve that data. So this is how we pass data from one intent to another. Okay, so place a plant object to a bundle. Okay, bundle equals new bundle. Okay, bundle dot put serializable. I need a string key and a serializable value. The key, I'm going to say plant search. The value is going to be the search plant object that we just populated. Okay, now why doesn't it like that? Oh, come on. Oh, I know why. Okay. I need to make one small change to my DTO. I need to have it implement an interface called Serializable. Implement Serializable. Okay. Control-Shift-O, organize imports, save. Okay, I will give anybody in this class an A if you can tell me a method that's required to implement when you implement interface serializable. Of course, that's an impossible question to answer. Let me go back to my, whoops, sorry, 1 second. That's an impossible question to answer, and let's find out why. Okay, one moment please. I need to bring my browser back up. Okay, that's fine. We'll just use this one. Okay, if you search on Java. Let's say Java Serializable. Okay, this is weird. This is an interface that has no methods. Remember that an interface generally has methods, and when we implement that interface, we must provide an implementation for those methods. But this is an interface that does not have methods. It's simply a marker. When you implement Serializable, you're basically just marking this class and saying, I give this permission to be converted to bytes. That's all. So there are no methods in Serializable. You're simply marking it. You're simply marking this class as Serializable. That is one of the Java Foundation classes, so we don't need to, our DTO is still pure. It still doesn't have any Android-specific stuff in it. So there we go. Okay, create an intent for the plant results screen. Well, shoot, we have a little problem. We don't have a plant results screen yet. So let's hold that thought for a minute. And under COM Plant Places UI, I'm going to say New Class. This time, I'm going to give it a name of Plant Results Activity. But I'm going to change the superclass to List Activity. This is a special superclass that is intended for an activity that just wants to show a list of values. It's a special purpose activity. It's just going to show a very basic list. Okay, and I choose Finish. Okay, and there we go. Now I at least have an activity. I need to add it to the Android manifest. Once I do that, I can go finish what I started working on. So add activity. Okay, name. Give it a second here. Plant results activity, and that's all we need. And save. Okay, good. Now I go back to my plant search activity, and now I can finish up this line here. So, okay. Create an intent. Intent plant results activity equals new intent. This, comma, plant results activity dot class, and terminate with the semicolon. Control-Shift-O, organize imports. Okay, we need to add the bundle to the plant results activity, or actually that should be plant results intent. Let me call it that to make it more clear. Okay, plant results intent. Is it put extra? There we go. Put extra with a bundle. Okay, put extra. Okay. 1 second. 1 second, please. Okay, I didn't see the signature I wanted there because I called put extra. I wanted to say put extras. And for this, we're going to pass in our friend the bundle. There we go. Now we're going to invoke this intent, but in a different way. We're going to say plant results intent. I'm sorry. We're going to say start activity for result. And then we're going to say plant results intent. And what do we want on the, what do we want for that? I think that final value is just a dummy value, the request code. 1 second and I'll find out what that is. Okay, for the request code, we simply hardcode a 1. And save. And now, when the button is clicked, it's going to go to our plant results screen. Now, what's going to happen is that plant results screen will work, and then it is eventually going to return something to this class, plant search activity. And plant search activity will need to override a different method on activity result. And there we go. So this is called, this is invoked when the plant result activity returns a result. Okay, on this then, we can capture the data that was found, that was chosen in the results screen. So if I go back, okay, what we'll need to do, well, let's see. What we'll need to do here is, you see we get an intent data, okay? We do the reverse of what we did upstairs. We say data.getExtras, okay? And we store that in a bundle. Bundle, that's fine, equals data.getExtras. From that, whoops, should be a single equal, not a double. From that, we can say bundle.getSerializable, and then we need to give it a key. We'll say selected plant. Okay, and we'll cast that to a plant. Plant selected plant equals bundle bundle.getSerializable selected plant. Okay, there we go. So this is the method that will get called when our plant results activity returns. Probably doesn't make much sense yet, but it will once we complete checking those boxes. So I choose save, and a couple things I want to do. First of all, these keys, we definitely don't want string literals here. We should make these constants. So I'm going to right click, refactor, extract constant, plant search, but we're going to make it public so that we can view it in the results screen. There we go. Okay, this one, right click, refactor, and we'll say extract constant, selected plant, make it public. Much better. If we ever have a string as a key, we should not use a string literal. We should always make it a constant. Okay, and again, with a constant, we can refer to the same string in more than one place. We can also do one of these things where we right-click and we say references, and we can find every class that's referencing that string. Very handy stuff. Okay, let's go to the plant results activity. We kind of left this guy alone. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to override the onCreate method. One second. Okay, onCreate, start typing, and then Control-1. We'll go ahead and leave that as is. Now remember, a list activity is a list of items, okay? And so what we want to do is we need to invoke a method here called populateList. Okay? And this method is going to take, I'll tell you what, it's probably easier if we could do the context-sensitive help. Oh, come on. Oh, phooey. Well, I don't see my populate list. Okay, sorry, one second again. Okay, the method is actually setListActivity. This, or setListAdapter. Okay, setListAdapter, new list adapter, plant. Okay, and then Control-Shift-O. Oh, come on. Give me a list adapter. What's wrong? Oh, I bet it doesn't like my constructor. Okay. Yeah, all right. Okay. I thought we needed a generic there, but maybe not. Okay. Control-Shift-O. Oh, come on. Boy, I'll tell you what. This one's just not working out for me. So I'm going to cheat and look at how I've done it before. Oh, I see. Array adapter. That. Okay. Got it. Array adapter. Okay. We're fine. Okay, so we go back and we say new array adapter, plant, okay, and then we have our constructor call, and once again I'm going to Control-Shift-O, okay, and what we need to do is pass in a context, which is the current object, this, because all activities extend from an abstract class named context, or it might be an interface it implements. But in any case, context is a supertype of plant results activity. So we need a context, and then we need a constant that says what this list is going to look like, and then we need a collection that we're going to put in the list. So this for the context. Now, for the how we want the layout to look, we have to use a really goofy looking constant. Android.r.layout.simple list item 1. Now we need a collection, and that's where we have a little bit of work to do. We're going to have to hold that thought for just a second, and we're going to need our friend, the plant service. Uh-oh, you know what? Where's my, there we go. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare an attribute of type iPlantService, plant service, like so, and Control-Shift-O to organize imports. And now, before I call this .setListAdapter, I'm going to say plant service equals new plant service stub. Okay, so Control-Shift-O, organize imports again, initialize the plant service. And remember, when we have the real live working version, we'll take out plant service stub and we'll put in the real live working version. Now I'm going to say plant service dot fetch plant. Okay, and I control 1. That's going to return a plant. Wait a minute now. Oh. Plant service fetch plant. Doesn't that return a list? Wait a minute. Oh, I see what it was doing. Okay. Plant service dot fetch plant. Let me control 1 this. Oh, I see. It's going to get confused. Okay. So I want to call the fetch plant method, but first I need that bundle. Remember that bundle thingy we had before? So I'm going to need the bundle so that I can find out the search criteria that was passed to this plant results activity. And for that, I simply say getIntent, which is a superclass method, .getExtras, and that's going to return to me a bundle. So I control 1, assign to a new local variable, that's fine. We'll call it bundle, that's good, all looks good. Bundle, remember this guy, .getSerializable. Now we need a key. What was the key that was created in the search screen? It was plant search, remember that guy? We can refer to that guy again. Instead of hard coding in, plant search, which is very brittle because we could misspell it, or maybe it would change at some point in the future, that won't work very well for us. So instead of doing that, I'll say plant search activity dot, and then we'll refer directly to that plant search constant we made earlier. Okay? Now that's going to return to us a plant, so I'll say plant equals, and then we'll cast plant, like so. And voila, that is the criteria we're going to pass to the plant service on line 24. Now, what am I going to do with the stuff returned from the plant service? Assign statement to new local variable, and there we go. There is our collection of plants. We'll say all plants. Boom. There's our collection of plants that we can now pass to our list adapter. All plants. It might get mad at me for something here. Okay, well, we have to handle an exception, so I'm going to control 1, surround with try catch, and we can just do our toast make text, but first I need to move this line into that try catch block because of scope reasons. There we go. Okay. Okay, so in the catch block, I'll say log.e, e.getMessage. There we go. And we might want to raise a toast here. Toast, Control-Shift-O, organize imports. There we go. Toast.makeText, this, comma, e.getMessage, toast, and take a look. Here's a constant, length long, dot show. Okay, I have an extra comma here I need to take care of. Okay, and save. Why doesn't it like log.e? Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. This.getClass.getName. We have to tell it where it came from, and then e.getMessage. And there we go. Wow, that's a lot. So I'm going to save. And we just have one more thing we need to do here. which is handle when the item is clicked. Let's make sure that everything's working so far though. I'm going to try to raise the debugger, and we'll make sure that we can navigate from the plant search screen to the plant results screen, and that we actually see plant results when we do that. So we'll see if we can get the debugger to come back here. We'll give it a few moments. I'll go ahead and restart this once the debugger comes up. Oh, see, every time I say that, there it goes. Okay, I'm going to hit menu. Oh shoot, the daggone debugger's on. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to disconnect the debugger so that we can go ahead and just walk through this rather quickly. Go to plant search. Doesn't matter what I put in here because it's going to hit the stub anyway. ABs and search. Now here's the big question. When I hit search, is it going to take me to the results screen? And is the results screen going to show me what I dummied up in the plant service stub? Let's see. Hold your fingers, and there we go. Perfect. Perfect. So it went from the plant search screen to this new plant results list. And now what we need to do is we need to click on one of these and have it send data back to the plant search screen. Okay? Okay, super. So I'll go back to Eclipse now. Okay, and I'm going to switch back to Java View. And what I need to do now is decide what to do in plant results when an item is clicked. When an item is clicked, it's going to invoke a method onListItemClicked. I'll just start typing, of course, then do my control space, hit enter. Let it automatically create that method for me. And then what I can do is I can say, okay, well, shoot, you know what? Probably this.getListAdapter. Okay, .getItem. Okay. Okay. And we will need to figure out which item was selected. We have to cast the result. Okay. We'll need to figure out which item was selected. So, oh, you know what? That's actually pretty easy because it is this right here. This position argument, that represents the item that was selected. So, position, okay, and that's going to be a plant. So plant selected plant equals this.getListAdapter.getItem at the position that the user clicked. We'll cast this to a plant. Okay, so get the plant that the user selected. And now what we need to do is simply send this plant back to the plant search screen. Okay, to do that, we make a bundle. Bundle equals new bundle. Okay, bundle, put serializable. Now the key, remember that key. Remember how the key we defined as a constant in plant search activity. Plant search activity dot selected plant, and then the value is going to be the selected plant. Okay. Next, let's go back to the PowerPoint here and see what we need to do. Okay. We need to get the intent, put the bundle on the intent, set the results, and then finish, and we're all set. Okay. So, get a reference to the current intent. Okay, this.getIntent. Okay. And we'll say intent, this intent equals this.getIntent. Okay, Control-Shift-O to organize imports. Okay, this intent dot put extras. Okay, bundle. There we go. Okay, and then this intent set result. Oh, is it intent where we set the result? Maybe it's not. Oh, it's no, it's just sorry, it's just this dot set result. This dot set result. Remember the keyword this I keep using, it's just a reference to the current object. Okay. And we'll say result okay. Oh, phooey. result. Okay, notice that's a constant. And then this intent, and then finish. Okay, and this will return the selected item back to the plant search screen. So I'm going to save, and I'm going to put breakpoints everywhere, and then I'm going to start the debugger again, and we're going to watch this step by step. So I'm putting breakpoints all over the plant search and plant result screen. What we probably should do, I'm going to make one other change. I'm going to go to the layout for the plant search screen, and just so that we can confirm that we did receive something, I'm going to make a little label down here right next to the search. So I'm going to drop a text view next to the search. I'm going to right click, properties, and we're going to say this. I know this is off screen. Oh, don't shoot, sorry, hit the wrong button. So properties, and then I'm going to say layout weight. We'll set that to 1. Okay, and then I'm going to say edit ID, and we'll say txt plant result. Okay, and then I'm going to say edit text, set it to blank, and save. Now I'm going to go back to my plant search screen. Okay, and I'm going to get a reference to view by ID. I'm going to get a reference to that text field I just made, r.id.txt plant result. Okay, okay, control 1, assign to new field. Field is going to be EDT, or I'm sorry, txt plant result. Okay, and tab, edit text, and enter. Okay, we know we're going to need to cast this, control 1. Add cast to edit text. There we go, and save. Now, down in the onActivity result, I'm going to say txt plant result dot set text selected plant dot ToString. I hope that doesn't get mad at me. Okay, good. There we go. So what we'll see is after we do this search, it's going to take the selected plant and put it up in that label just so we can watch the data go from search plants to plant results and then back to search plants again. So I save, and now I'm going to hit the debugger and we'll have it reload the AVD. Okay, we'll give that a second. Now with our debug breakpoints like crazy, we're going to be toggling back and forth between the debugger and the Android virtual device. So bear with me a bit as we do that. Okay. I'm going to go to menu. Wait, we've done a lot today. Okay. And we'll go ahead and play through this. Okay. I'll hit plant search. And once again, play through. Play through. Play through. Play through. Play through. Uh-oh. Something's mad. Okay, so what went wrong? Okay, what'd I do? Something went wrong there, and I went through it too quickly to see. So let me take a quick look. It was probably something in this onCreate. Let me play it once again. I know we're pretty close, aren't we? Okay, let that go. And meanwhile, I'll look at this to see if anything sticks out. Okay, so I'm going to go to, okay, that looks good. On Create Options menu. Okay, I hit Plant Search. Okay, that looks good. On Create, I'm going to step through this and try and find my error. Also, I need to try to get back there we go. I need to bring back my, I know that was kind of falling off screen there, so I need to bring back the screencast-o-matic. Okay, F6, F6, which one of these does it not like? Okay, that's good. Okay, spinner category, that's good. Okay, that's good. 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 TXT plant result. What doesn't it like about that? Did I cast? Oh, I casted it wrong, didn't I? I did. I casted that wrong. I'm going to terminate the debugger session. What I did is if I go to plant search, boy, I was so close there too. I casted that to an edit text. It's actually a text view. Okay, plant search. Yeah, that should be a text view, not an edit text. Okay, I understand why it's mad at me now. Yeah, and I even named it appropriately, but okay, well, there we go. Okay, so, and that's, if that happens, that's what you do. Set breakpoints and figure out where it went wrong. Let me wire up the debugger once again. Yeah, go ahead and save, and we'll try that again. Okay, hopefully it will be able to resync our debug environment here. We'll give this a try. Okay, while this is launching, once we go through the debugger, we'll be all finished. So think about some quiz question suggestions like what a bundle is, set extras, serializable, StartActivityForResult, and so on and so forth. Okay, now I'm going to do menu, and I'll walk through. Okay, good. And I'm going to hit plant search, and again, we're going to walk through creating the menu. Okay, now we're in the plant search activity, and we're going to set up the screen. Okay. And again, we're just setting up the plant search screen now, and the onCreate method. Okay, there we go. Okay, we got past that. Okay, setting up our OnClickListener, and now we'll choose play to continue. Okay. Now, again, it doesn't really matter what we put in here because we're just going to get the dummied results from the plant search. So I'm going to say ABs, but of course it doesn't really matter. Okay, we'll let that go in there. And I've found, oh nice, and look, we have our autocomplete text, so I can just pick it. I found that typing into this simulator can sometimes be very slow, but that's okay. So hit search, and if it works well, then we should immediately go over to our plant results screen. So I hit search, and where are we? We're in our plant search activity. What are we doing now? Okay, take a look. We're creating a new plant object, and we're populating it with these values that the user entered. I'll highlight Control-Shift-I, and ToString here is going to return ABs. The others we left empty. So it's populating a plant object now. Going to toss that in a bundle, create an intent, which is an intention to say do another activity, and then it's going to add that bundle to that intent and then start that activity. So I'll go ahead and press play, and if all works well, now look where we are. We're in the plant results activity. Okay, now what it's going to do is it's going to create that plant service stub, get the bundle, okay, get the bundle which contains the plant search object, ask it for the plant search object. Of course, one nice thing about the debugger in Eclipse is I can expand and see, sure enough, this is the one I passed in because there's my ABs. Okay, now we're going to fetch the plant. I'll F5 into this, and we'll remember this is our stub where we just dummied up some data. Okay, it's going to set that in the list adapter, which is going to make it viewable to the user. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and we'll play through. If all works well, there we go. AB Silicica, Acer rubrum. Just for S&Gs, let me hit the Acer rubrum. Okay, great. I see a breakpoint hit. It hit my OnListItem click. Okay, F6. Now here's the tricky part. Is it going to be able to find the right plant? This is where it's trying to get the plant from our list of plants. Looks pretty good so far. I'll double check, and the results, sure enough, Acer rubrum freemonii. There we go, we're looking good. We're going to put this in a bundle, and remember, a bundle is just like a hash map. It's something that contains data that we can send back and forth between intents, and therefore back and forth between activities. get our intent, put the bundle on it, say the results are okay, and finish, which will send control from our plant results screen back to the plant search screen because the plant search screen did a start activity for results. So I'll hit play, and let's see, and look where we ended up. The plant search activity, it's going to grab the bundle, grab the selected plant, and what do we see in the debugger? It should be our Freemonii. Sure enough, it is. Okay, and then it's going to take the ToString of that and put that into the text view, the plant results text view. So I'll hit play, and let's see what we get. And there we go, Acer rubrum Freemonii. If I turn the debugger off, we can do it a little bit faster. I hit search. This time AB silicica. We see it comes back, AB silicica. Search, Acer rubrum Freemonii, Acer rubrum Freemonii. So that is how we can have one activity start another activity and then anticipate a result and decide how to deal with that result. There's a lot of powerful features here. In the real plant places, when I'm on the location screen, I can search for a plant, then I can search for specimens of that plant. And then if I want, I can either pick an existing specimen or create a new specimen. And this happens with a chain of about 4 screens that are calling each other and expecting a result back. So you'll probably end up using this somewhere on your Android application. So this lecture went a little bit long. I apologize for the length, but we covered a lot of great material. Again, think about intents, start activity for result, bundle, set extras, constants, serializable, a lot of great stuff tonight. So we'll go ahead and close it off there. And items from this we will put into, I believe it's quiz 4. So this and the previous 2 lectures we'll put into quiz 4. Thanks again.